I'm going to give it to Mike O'Reilly, who's a professional actor, a comedian, and he's also a team organizer, and he's going to talk about his cancer journey.
All right. Thank you for that warm round of applause. Really welcome. I don't think I'll need this microphone to fill this room. It is truly an honor to be with all of you here today. My name is Kenneth Michael Riley, and it sounds a lot better if it's said with an Irish accent, so right along with me, Kenneth Michael Riley. I am a husband. Very good, I got my Irish contingency. I'm a husband, I'm a stand-up comedian, I'm an actor, a corporate team builder. I am the world's greatest uncle. All 8 of my nieces and nephews got together and bought me a t-shirt that says that. They're all in their 20s, and it kind of just showed me how cheap they actually were. But the title that I'm most proud of is that of Cancer Survivor. I do have to go to my notes because I do have chemo break. So, in June of 2012, I was meeting with my primary doctor, and I was doing that thing that every person over 50 needs to do. The exam with the camera that you don't need to smile for. He asked me if there was anything else, and I had a small lump in between my neck and my shoulder blade, but being a guy, I didn't think much of it because, it didn't hurt, and I said, well, yeah, I got this lump. He goes, I think we ought to get that checked out. And I'm so glad that we did. It turned out to be stage 3 non-small cell lung cancer, which kind of blew me away because I didn't feel sick. 2 weeks before, I was hiking along the Nepali coast with some coworkers who were all in their 20s, and quite frankly, I was kicking their butt going up and down those hills. So I was very surprised. I still remember when I got the for sure diagnosis, that word cancer just echoed in my head. Cancer, cancer, cancer. And the first thing I thought is, wow, guys are really screwed up on this one. There must be some other Mike O'Reilly there happens to have the same medical record as I do, and same birth date. Shit, it's me. I'm that guy. I was so glad that my wife was there. My wife is a financial planner, and the first thing she did is she went into planning mode. She started taking notes as I sat there stunned with those words echoing through my head. Cancer, cancer, cancer. And then I thought, well, they said it was, non-small cell. So I thought, well, it's big cell then. And this is just a big cell, so they can cut it out. And a couple weeks later, hey, I'll be back in action. The first thing I did when we got home was I went on the web. And I typed in WebMD. Don't do this. I started reading about my disease, and it said that I had an 85% chance of dying within the first year. So being raised a Catholic, I did what any good Catholic boy would do, is I started planning my funeral. I figured, well, it's time to roll the credits. I've had a pretty good life. I actually made a guest list of who would be invited to my funeral and who would be turned away. I was going to hire a couple of big bouncers. They'd stand there and go, yes, you can come in, wait, I don't see your name. It says here, he never really liked you. Okay. Yeah, you can't come in. I even planned my music. I was going to have Freebird by Leonard Skinner, and yes, the whole complete 19-minute version. I was also going to have him play Highway to Hell. Not so much that I really like that song, it's just I have a very warped sense of humor, and I thought it'd be very funny, that song being blasted out of a Catholic church. And my parents sitting there going, great, it's just another church he's gonna get us kicked out of. This is more embarrassing than the time he farted in the confessional and he made the priest sick. And I got really depressed. And in my depression and my funeral planning, thought to myself, wait a second. If I have an 85% chance of dying, that means I've got a 15% chance of living. So being always kind of an underdog, I thought to myself, damn it, I'm going for that 15%. First doctor I met on this journey was Dr. Lucy Song. I remember sitting down with Dr. Song and I asked her, well, how long can we prolong my life? Because I need to beat those odds that are on WebMD. That was my whole goal. And she looked at me and said, Mr. Riley, I'm not here to prolong your life. I'm here to try and cure you. And I thought, oh my God, this woman is a rock star. I am going to follow everything that she did. She was in my corner. And then I went to go see Dr. Anita, and I just found out, TC, yo, Dr. God, I thought that was funny. Clearly, it was only me. I went to go see Dr. Lee, who's she was a little tougher. She goes, yeah, we're going to have to be very aggressive with your cancer, and this is going to take a lot out of you. And so I had my incredible team who was backed by their incredible teams. I didn't even know like you guys had a tumor board, which just kind of pictured a bunch of tumors sitting around a table. Just kind of my own brain. And I need to mention another very valuable player on my team was my wife. When I couldn't think, she thought for me. When I couldn't speak, she spoke for me. She took very meticulous notes. And she followed each and every one. Therefore, I had to follow each and every one. So I had this incredible team, and I was thinking to myself, what can I bring to this? Because not too much more was in my control. My life was now made up of daily visits to Kaiser Hospital. Now I work for myself, and I was used to making my own schedule. My schedule was no longer my own. The type of food that I ate, pepperoni pizza and that type of thing, was no longer my own choice. So the choice over my schedule, the choice over what I ate, the choice over my energy level was no longer my own. I felt like I was giving up, a piece of my own personal freedom. But I thought there are two things that I can bring to this fight. One is my attitude. I chose to have a positive attitude because the way I looked at it, I could have cancer and a shitty attitude, or I could have cancer and a positive attitude. And I chose a positive attitude. And what was the other thing that I could bring? That would be my sense of humor. I'm a comedian after all. That's pretty much all I had, was my sense of humor. I'll have to look at my notes real quick. Yeah, they were talking about chemo brain earlier. Yeah, I definitely had that. And still do a little bit to this day. But I knew, going in with a positive attitude and my sense of humor, I knew that there were all these other emotions that I was going to have to deal with. Yeah, I was depressed. I was fatigued. I was scared. I was really, really scared. And I knew I was going to have to deal with those emotions, otherwise they would just bottle up and I would get diarrhea or something. So how I dealt with those other emotions is I gave the cancer 1 hour a day to mess with my head. So between the hours of 3 and 4, I would have my own pity party. It was awesome. I would go to the Pity Party Bar and Grill, which in essence was just my bedroom. So I'd walk in there and the maitre d' would be there and he'd go, oh, welcome to the pity party. How many in your party? 1. Well, that's pitiful. Will there be crying at your pity party? Oh yeah, there's probably going to be quite a bit of crying. Well, very good then. We will be sure to give you plenty of hankies. Now, will you have any anger at your pity party? Oh yeah, I am really pissed off. Well, we will go ahead and bring you some pillows that you may punch. Now, would you require any music during your pity party? And I thought, yeah. Do you have anything by Sarah McLachlan? Maybe like that song that they play for the Humane Society commercials? In the arms of the angels. So I would sit there and I would cry. And I would let all of my emotions out. I would be angry, I would beat up pillows. Just whatever feeling came through. You got it there, buddy? Cool. Excellent. How you doing, man? Welcome. So I let all those emotions just come out. Because it's okay to feel all those emotions. But what I did do, because music played a big part in my fight, is I would end my pity party with Tom Petty's I Won't Back Down. So I just listened to those words. I won't back down. No, I won't back down. You can stand me up at the gates of hell, but I won't back down. I know what's right. I only have one life. In a world that keeps pushing me around, I will stand my ground, and I won't back down. I also started to find humor in my treatments. My first bit of humor was my new girlfriend. I got to see my new girlfriend 3 days a week. She was tall, she was skinny. I named her Ivy. She was the one who was going to give me my chemo treatments. Sure, she was skinny and taller than I was, and she beeped a lot, but we were really stuck on each other. Thank you. Little chemo humor for you there. It's not the best joke I wrote, but it's the only one that I could come up with. And then I thought, hey, I'll be able to smoke pot now. This is cool, because this is back when you could get a marijuana medical card. I was like, cool, I'll get one of those. And then I started thinking, wait a minute. The last time I got high was in like 1978. And I wound up getting all paranoid. I started thinking I'm breathing, then I'm thinking I'm breathing too much, or maybe I'm not breathing enough. And I'm thinking, you know what? The last thing I need to do is to get inside my head. So for me, doing pot wasn't when it wasn't an option. I didn't want to do that. I do have to hand it to my anti-nausea team. They did a great job. I particularly do not like to throw up. I haven't thrown up since the great beer tasting adventure in 1998. And thankfully to that team that put together my nausea medicine, that record still holds today. Woo! So, thank you. Right, that's just thank you. And over here. I thought I was going to be able to escape losing my hair, because it lasted pretty long. And then one day I was in the shower, and it all started coming out in my hands. And I was like, damn it. I don't have any control over that. Well, what I can do is I can make it fun. So I called my hairstylist and I told her, hey, I want you to shave my head for me, because I was going to decide when I lost all my hair. And Tara started to cry. She said, I don't know if I'm emotionally able to do that for you. I was like, no, wait, I'm going to make this so much fun. She's like, okay, I'll try. So I went to her shop, and she cut my hair after hours. And the first thing that we did is I got like the coolest mohawk I'd ever had in my entire life. It was like hanging all the way up to here. And then we completely shaved my head. Now, some people have a great shaped head for being bald. I do not. But you know what? It was my head. There was nothing I can do about it. So I was going to make the best out of this new Uncle Fester look as I possibly could. And then I went to radiation. Radiation, they have a beautiful set of I went to is in Santa Clara. They have a beautiful rose garden that's around their building. And every day before I went into radiation, and Kaiser was really good about putting my appointments so I'd have like chemo in the morning, then radiation in the afternoon, or the opposite, however it kind of worked out schedule-wise. But they were good about that. I didn't have to keep coming back and forth. But every day that I went into radiation, I stopped and smelled a different rose. And each one of those roses reminded me of somebody that was on my journey with me. Reminded me of the friends that I had. Of wonderful friends who would make dinners for my wife and I. I had friends that would drive me to my treatments. Even though there's a possibility I would throw up in their car, they would give me a ride. My old roommate, he came pulling up in his Corvette. He's like, yeah, here's a bucket, okay? If anything has to go. But I would smell one of those roses each and every day. And it was also a good psychological reminder to slow down and smell the roses in life. And I've carried that with me. When I went into radiation, I noticed when I walked in, there's a couple of things that happened. My wife was able to be with me when I was doing the chemo, but for the first time in radiation, she wasn't. And I walked through that door, and it shut. I was alone. First time in this journey, I was alone. And I was walking down the hall, and on the right side was a women's room, where they all waited. And it was a bustle of energy. They were all talking to each other. They were sharing information. They were sharing ideas about food. They were sharing ideas about their treatments. They were sharing which bras they could wear that didn't hurt when they were going through radiation. They were sharing information. And then I walked into the guys, and there were all my guys staring at the floor, looking like that they were going to go in to get to the firing squad, just staring. So I made it my job to lighten everybody up. So each day I'd walk in with a joke. Some days I'd walk in and go, gentlemen, don't you look radiant today? I would say, if they turned off the light, do you think we would glow in the dark? And this one guy said, well, I've got colon cancer, so probably only my ass would glow. But what the humor did is the humor broke down the walls. And we began to talk to each other. And we began to share our journeys with each other. Cancer is amazing in the fact that cancer is the most non-discriminatory disease that there is out there. In the room that I shared, there was a gentleman from England, a gentleman from Vietnam, a gentleman from India, a gentleman from China, and an Irish kid. And there we were, all together in one room at this particular point in our lives, fighting for our lives. When one of us was having a bad day, I could feel us all just sending our energy to him. We started talking. We also communicated by looks, just like you're doing. I love that smile, man. We would smile at each other, and we'd help each other through. And we wound up actually staying in touch afterwards. Some of us made the journey, and some of us didn't. But each one of those guys, for the rest of my life, will always live in my heart. And then going into radiation, it was a lot harder than the chemo. I had to wear this mask that they would use. They would put it on, and they would bump me down. I'd have my hands up above my head for about 40 minutes. When I first looked at this mask, I thought it was my death mask. But then I looked at it again, and I was like, no, this is not a death mask. I hate tight spaces. This mask was going to teach me the lesson of concentration. This mask was going to become my war mask. This mask is the mask that I'm going to wear when I go into battle. This mask is my war face. So that's what I thought each time they put that mask on me. So it became my championship mask. The Warriors wanted to borrow it the other day, and I said, no, I need it. Each time I put on the mask, I thought of that Pink Floyd song, Comfortably Numb. Because again, I use music a lot. So I'd sit there and they put the mask on and I'd think, hello, hello, is there anybody in there? Just nod if you can hear me. I can't nod. This mask is stuck. And then the machine would start. To be honest, I don't even really know exactly what the machine looked like because I closed my eyes most of the time. But I can tell you every single sound that machine made. I knew every sound. As I would lay there, I could kind of tell where it was shooting by the noise that it was making. And I thought sometimes like I was on a spaceship. And again, Pink Floyd, Welcome to the Machine. But then I looked at it as a spaceship and laser beams going in to blow up those cancer cells. The radiation took an awful lot out of me. I wound up having some pretty good burns. And Dr. Lee was really good. She gave me some really good salves to put on that, and she made sure, did your skin hurt? It's because you're not putting on enough salve. That's right. So she made sure I had enough salve. My last radiation treatment, which is an amazing thing. Anybody who's gone through that, you know that last day, man, you've had that marked on your calendar for months. I was the weakest I'd ever been in my entire life. And the guy that would bolt me down and I think ran the radiation machine, because I don't know, they're like, oh, the radiation is safe. Then he stepped behind a wall. Dude, then why don't you hang out here with me then? It's so damn safe. You don't want kids to glow in the dark. The guy that bolted me down every day, I looked at him and I said, dude, I'm too weak to get up. He's a big, tough-looking guy. And he leaned down and he said, don't worry, my brother. I will help you out. And we will walk out together. It was amazing. I found out some interesting things going through this. My family, who was never much of a touchy-feely family, my mom and dad, who were elderly, lived up in Grass Valley, and they would come and see me. My dad never showed much emotions, and one day he was holding my hand, and he was crying. I'd never seen my dad cry. We'd lost my two brothers earlier in our lives, and my dad said, you're my only son. My sisters, on the other hand, were afraid of me. Maybe because of what happened to my brother, so they never came and saw me. And neither did my nieces and nephews. And they're on the list of not going to my funeral. And that's still kind of a hurt. But on the good side, what it taught me was who I could trust and who is on my side. Another good side effect from the radiation is I don't have to shave this side of my face. Ever. That hair just doesn't grow there. It's awesome. It was a beautiful journey in the sense of the things that I learned. I learned how kind people could be. I learned a lot of the people at Kaiser who work in the cancer area are cancer survivors for themselves. And down to the receptionist who smiled at me every time I came in. The nurse who smiled every time she stuck me. A little hint, always be nice to your nurse. To my friends and to my wife. I couldn't have made it without her. She told me I was handsome when I knew I wasn't. She would slow dance with me in the kitchen. We were both too afraid to talk. Our wedding song was, "I Won't Give Up." We would play that over and over and over again. So I learned some wonderful things on this journey. If any of you cancer survivors, congratulations, and I truly honor and respect the journey that you took. For those who are going through it, each and every one of us has a beautiful strength inside of us. Mine happened to be humor, yours could be something totally different. Grab onto that strength and use that to help you through this time. To everybody who has supported somebody who's gone through cancer, thank you from the bottom of my heart, because if it weren't for you, and I know you were just as scared as we were going through it, it would have been more and more difficult. You gave up a lot in your lives. To my doctors, Dr. Song and Dr. Lee, I know you guys, every time I say thank you, they're both like, well, no, it wasn't me, it wasn't me. No, a big part of it was you. I know your team was a big part of it. And I know that each and both of you handled a very difficult situation with honesty, which was so appreciated on my part, and with compassion. And I appreciate that with all of my heart. Now my cancer may come back. It's been 10 years, 7 years, something like that. I passed that bridge, but it may come back. If it does come back, my odds aren't that too good. But I'm not gonna trip on that, just like I didn't trip on how I got my cancer. Because there's only one thing I know for sure, and that's right here, right now, and in the moment. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys for sharing this moment with me. Guess I didn't need my notes as much as I thought. Does anybody have any questions? Or we could just sit and stare at each other. Either way. Yeah.
For those people who weren't there for you, did it feel like they were abandoning you, or did you feel like they just didn't have the strength?
That's a really good question, and I'll tell you, at first, I felt that they abandoned me. I felt like, God, my sisters, they left me, man. I would be there for them. And then I kind of quit thinking about me, and I thought about them. And we are all different, and we all have very different emotional capabilities. And I've reconciled that really it wasn't their fault, because they couldn't deal with it. That's, so I've tried to let that go as much as I possibly can. There is still a part of me that holds back on some of my love. So intellectually, I understand. Emotionally, it's still hard.
What if you know for sure that is not the case?
What they,
Yeah, that's not the case, then,
that they just couldn't deal with it?
yeah. Unwilling to deal with it.
Unwilling to deal with it. Well, then that would piss me off, because like, I didn't want to deal with cancer, but I had to. But it's also very important for one's own health is to give up the negativity and keep the positivity. And and then so I'm with the people that
Forgive them.
Yes.
The word forgive them.
Yeah, that is.
Know better.
You know what? Thank you for reminding me. We can always be reminded to forgive more. Yeah.
No, your position is a patient or doctor.
Oh, I was a patient.
You're a patient.
Yeah, even though earlier today they said, oh, there's going to be a talk by Dr. Mike O'Reilly. I was like, yeah. Look at that. I didn't even have to go to school. Just a patient. I mean, I am a stand-up comedian, and an actor, and that's it. I have no medical degree, although oddly enough, I worked as a standardized patient for Stanford University, and I used to have to put on that robe every day, and it was really sobering when I was putting on that robe for real.
Second question,
Yeah.
are you Kaiser Hospital volunteer or paid staff?
I am neither. I am very fortunate to be a member of Kaiser Hospital. I don't get paid for this. If somebody can walk away with something that helps them down that journey, that's the reason why I do this. But I was thinking about they have a mentor program they're starting, and I would like to give back. So I've been looking at that, which is a volunteer program.
Today, we didn't expect your speech is a patient or doctor. We think you're a God, you save our life to support everyone who sit up here to get a more positive view to deal with cancer. Thank you.
Oh. Give me a heart. That was very, very kind. Thank you very much.
It's your agent.
Ladies and gentlemen, my new agent right here, and close personal friend. And I think that's it, because I'm really feeling uncomfortable right now. I'm just